All right, fam, what's happening? I'm so sorry for being late, but there is so many things happening, and I've literally been to the last second prepping to bring you the alpha that will show you that the whole thing regarding the Bank of Japan and the whole issue regarding the rate hikes in Japan that everybody's afraid of is actually a big FUD. Now, there is a bunch to unwrap and a bunch to talk about, but I genuinely think that tomorrow can be a massive pump event. And again, as I was telling you, I've been literally looking at all the data up till now to bring you and show you what I'm looking at the charts. We're going to look back all the way to the 1980s, see how the whole thing impacted, see how Trump presidency will impact this, what's the probability of this rate hike actually happening in Japan tomorrow. I'm going to tell you what this is and why it's important, but most importantly, I'm going to tell you how you can protect your bag, or should you actually protect your bag. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. But there's a bunch of things happening. Again, let me know if you are here in the chat. I want to see. I'm not usually late, but this was a different thing. We're also gonna look at news, and we're also gonna look at charts, and we're also gonna analyze your charts, because that's what I really want to do now if you're in the trade, to understand what's happening. But guys, if you don't know who I am, my name is Fefe. I bring you the best of the alpha from the past 24 hours for the next 24 hours. And yeah, let's get into the show, guys. Let's get into the show. Also, please subscribe to the channel, smash the like button, obliterate the like button. In fact, let me know that you're here. We see 600 people here, and 100 like. This is the opportunity to do that. So I'm not going to waste any more time. I'm really going to go to the point. And the point is that if you look at this, I've tweeted and I said, market is concerned about the yen carry trade. Bank of Japan interested rate decision is tomorrow, which is Friday. And I will spin up a thread. Today I'm going to do it, but I'm going to give you everything that I'm going to write in the thread anyway. And the most important thing is I want you to understand what the yen carry trade is and why it's actually interesting and important and why you should care. Now, I know that most of us are crypto degens. We don't care. That's fine. But this is something that you really should pay attention to, especially because now crypto is becoming a political thing, especially with Trump coming into office and governments adopting it as or talking about having it as reserves, companies putting it on their balance sheets. So it's kind of becoming like a global thing. So I want you to understand what this yen carry trade is. Now, yen currency of Japan, that's where we start from. And then watch this video. There is no music and narrative, so I'm going to tell you what it basically says. But it says that traders borrow money low interest rates. So that means that Japan made it so that it was almost free to borrow money. Or sometimes it was actually free to borrow money. You could borrow money and then you could repay it later with a very, very small interest. And so, let's put this up here. So you could borrow that. Now you can take that cash, you can take that yen, convert it into another currency, for example, dollar or euros or whatever that is, and you can basically farm the interest that comes from that conversion. So for example, I can put my dollar into bonds and then get 5% a year, and then I can pay back, that fraction, 0. whatever percent paid back because I borrowed the yen, and then I take most of the profit. Or I can put it in riskier assets and so much so forth. So the whole idea is that you basically have guaranteed profits until you don't. So there are three ways that this can get screwed. One is that the yield goes up, meaning you will have to pay more to borrow yen. Two, new currency yield goes up, so new currency yield goes down. So if the bonds start falling down and it will become, 1% or 0.5%, obviously it's not worth for you to do all the conversion and all that. And the yen versus new currency, let me go back here, conversion rate goes down. So there's the difference between the two currencies have a problem. Let me show you this visually, how this actually works. And again, I know you might think this is not important, but it is very important. You borrow $1 billion yen, right? That's about $6.9 million. You buy $6.9 million worth of bonds at 5%. You profit about $276 a year. Simple. But what happens if you start the variation and you start shifting numbers up? For example, what happens if the USD yen exchange goes down by 10%? That means that the yen strengthens 10% that's against the dollar. That's what it basically means. That means that instead of you borrow 6.9 million, but now you have to pay back 7.7 million yen. So the way it changes, as you see here, you have to pay off that. Previously, you had to pay off 6.9 million because that's how much you borrowed. But because now you have to pay off 7.7 million, you will have a $450,000 loss. So by a small, tiny, a 10% change between the conversion rate of the dollar and the yen, you're losing $450,000. There is a $600,000 difference on this size of the trade. Now, if you look at the bonds and stocks yields are falling, so you're gonna get less for your bonds. You're going to get less for your investments, whatever that might be. For example, you had $6.9 million. You will now have less than $6.9 million. So, no, it's not the interest. Sorry, it's the actual asset that is falling in value. So if you look here, for example, if it goes down to 6.5, you will have a loss of $500,000. You get the point. Now, there was last year, again, if you have been watching the shows for quite some time, you know that there was a whole thing about this yen carry trade. Will it unwind? And this discussion has been going on for 20 years, but will it unwind? And obviously billions and billions and billions and potentially trillions that we're talking about now. There are estimates that it's about $2-3 trillion, the size of the yen carry trade, meaning this is the amount of, this is the magnitude of the yen carry trade, meaning this is about the numbers that people borrowed and then invested in other vehicles. And so and this is exactly what happened. If Japan decided to, hey, we have inflation, we have to start increasing rates, just like the Fed did, the Fed did through the FOMC, what you will see is that these people who are involved in these trades will be screwed. And they'll be like, okay, so it was actually free for me to borrow, but now it cost me 0.1%, which exactly what happened back in March 2019. No, 19th of March 2024. So if you look at this, if that happens, that sounds like a small little change, but actually, again, on the grand scheme of things, it's actually massive and can result in massive losses. Now, what really happened? Let me go back a little bit. So, if you look at the interest rates, what you can see on the max that it basically went down to zero. So, between 2000 and 2007, it was almost zero. It was 0%. Then it went up a little bit prior to the financial crisis, 0.5, and then again it went back down to zero, even minus 0.1%. And then last year there was an uptick. And the uptick was that there was an increase. Let me just go back here. There was an increase of 0.1% to 0.1%. Note here what I'm saying. And again, I've literally just done the research, so you have to bear with me here. But if you look at this, this was expected. So what you have to understand from the March increase is that the previous interest rate on borrowing yen, basically, was minus 0.10%. Okay? So from here, the forecast was that it's going to be 0.10, but also a lot of people expected that at some point there will be some kind of shift from this ongoing money printing trade. And so there was an increase to 0.10%. Now, I'm going to show you the charts, but if you look, this is the 0.10% here, March 19th, 2024. Didn't really cause anything in, for example, Bitcoin. Of course, you can consider this as the beginning of this massive sell in May, go away kind of situation. But you've seen it was going up about 10%, down about 15%. So it's not like it resulted in a massive crash. Then, for example, this event here. Now, this is the second raise that happened last year, which was the expectations were to keep it at 0.10% because, it was 0.10. Now they're going to keep it at that. But what happened is, and this was the surprising event that nobody really expected, the interest rate, or Japan increased interest rates to 0.25%. Now that shocked the market because they were like, okay, so this thing is actually happening for real. If you look at inflation numbers in Japan, you see that the numbers obviously go up and inflation is increasing. So therefore, their only way to tame inflation is to increase interest rates. And when that happened, if you look here, when that happened, the market took a massive hit. So it's about 20-25% on Bitcoin. And the reason, everything that leads up to this everything that leads up to this is because, and why people concerned about the rate hike tomorrow is because everybody's expecting what happened later here and that the whole yen carry trade will unwind. And a couple of things that we need to discuss. First of all, what I want to say and we need to discuss is, why don't you guys like the show? I mean, if you like the show, you have to let me know in the chat, but also you have to physically push the like button. I'm going to drink some water. And I want you guys to actually obliterate the like button. I'm giving so much heart and soul and blood for this show, for you guys, so you can protect your bags and actually make profits off of these events. So I would truly appreciate if you do that. I'm going to drink some water. This is good. Yeah, I'm so happy to share this offer with you guys. Seriously. So, And we're going to see. So he's saying, we don't like it. Good. Leon, don't do it. Love the show. Need to have love the show button. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you guys. Like the Wooda. Anyways, good boy. Thank you so much. Buying alts was the best mistake of my life. No, it wasn't. You're just impatient. I like the show. Smashed it. Thank you. Show is awesome as always. Thank you, gang. Kidding. Still layering into Jupiter. Yes, unfortunately. We're going to look at the chart. Okay. So let's get back here. Because everybody's expecting, these likes are actually quite like meh, but fine. So I'm gonna give you more alpha, so you have more reasons to like. So if you look at this, back here, people did not expect this massive increase from 0.10% to 0.25%. And when it happened, the total market cap took a hit of about 25%. Lots and lots of tokens down, 3, 4, 30, 40%. Bitcoin itself down about 22, 23, 24, 25%. So everybody's expecting this event to be like another massive hit if the Bank of Japan increases rates. But there are massive differences now. Number one, the expectation is 0.5. If you look back here, the expectation was 0.10. So in here, the expectation was that there was not going to be a raise. Furthermore, this was 6 months ago. July, August, September, October, November, December, January. 6 months ago, this happened. So there's a bunch of times for people to unwind this whole yen carry trade. Plus, you have to understand the fact that the reason why we had this massive dump here, because it was unexpected, is that people getting out of risk assets. Because a lot of people didn't take the cash that they borrowed and put it into bonds and treasury bills and whatever. They actually put it into the market. And if you see Bitcoin moving 25, 30% a year, and maybe in a bear market for 2 years, and you still have to pay back your loan, that becomes a problem. So people started scaling out in a mass scale of risk assets. And as they scaled out, obviously crypto, as the most volatile risk asset in the world, has taken a massive, massive hit. But the difference here, which I want you to notice, is that we have 0.5% priced in now. And we knew this long time ago. We knew this in November, we knew this in December, and that was the last date when they talked about it. And I'm going to show you in a second why this doesn't really matter and why the whole thing is a little bit of a FUD. But the market is expecting the Bank of Japan to increase interest rates to by 25 basis points to 0.5% on the 23rd of January. It is expected. Japan has been in quantitative easing mode for 2 decades. What did we expect? Nothing else. Nothing else. Everybody knew that at some point this was going to happen. And now we know that this is happening. And a lot of people calling for FUD, but here's what I would like you to focus on. And here's what I think is actually relevant when it comes to this. One is, on the yen carry trade and the Bank of Japan, higher volatility reduces the profitability and thus the attractiveness of the yen carry trade. We have had that happen. Fewer participants in leverage carry trades equals the Bank of Japan actions are thus not as important as they were in 2024, which again was very volatile because again, it was unexpected. But now it is expected. What is also interesting is that most of the leverage is out. There is deleveraging that is happening on this market. Therefore, that means and shows that everybody is expecting this to happen. When I say everybody, the traditional TradeFi is expecting this to happen. If you look at this post says the yen carry trade for equities is dead. Pretty clear from the CFTC data that yen shorts peaked in July, followed by a massive deleveraging. Again, July, obviously after the announcement or leading up to the announcement. Although many people will probably forewarn about the round 2, which this is what I'm saying now, when the hike next week, but it will not happen. So you see that there has been massive, massive deleveraging. And what is even more important is that we have this guy in office. And I want you to hear it out, okay? Because everybody will say, oh, Trump is strong economy, rate hikes are not going to happen, and no. That's exactly actually the opposite that you might believe is going to happen. Because Trump has been very vocal about the fact that the yen is very weak, and it's weak on purpose. Why? Because if the yen is weak compared to the dollar, that makes exports for the United States very, very expensive. So that means that it's not good for the American economy. As he said on Truth Social, the dollar has just hit a 34-year high against the yen, a total disaster for the United States. When I was president, I spent a good deal of my time telling Japan and China in particular, you can't do that. Please pay attention to this because I'm going to get back to this in a second, okay? So it sounds good to stupid people, but it is a disaster for our manufacturers and others. They're actually unable to compete and will be forced to either lose lots of businesses or build plants. Why? Exactly what I said. If you want to manufacture something in the United States and sell it to Japan, but the yen dollar is way too high, meaning the dollar is very strong compared to the yen, people will not buy from the States because it will be way too expensive. But the Americans can do nothing because they have a manufacturing cost, they have costs that they have to incur. Therefore, they can't reduce their prices because the yen is very weak compared to the dollar. Now, what is interesting is that, or build plants or whatever in the small countries. This is what made Japan and China into behemoths the years ago. I put limits, listen carefully. I put limits on both and others. And if they violate those limits, there was hell to pay. Biden had let it go. Watch them now pick apart the US. It will be an open field day. Don't let this happen, Crooked Joe. Wake up and smell the roses. This was on April 23rd, 2024. Very recent. Very, very, very recent. So what does this leave us with? That leaves us with the fact that in the 1980s, the US told Japan to strengthen the yen. Same situation. And guess what they said? They said exactly what Trump is saying. They said if you do not strengthen the yen, meaning if the yen strengthens, the dollar and the yen ratio falls down, therefore it will be more attractive for people in Japan to import from the United States, they will have tariffs on them. 1980s, this is not Trump, 1980s, they've been told that they'll get tariffs if they do not follow suit. Guess what happened? They did. Guess what happened? They did. Let me show you the charts here. Now, the charts show the following thing. Guys, I would truly appreciate if you could like the show. We have 1,500 people. We are more and more every single day, which I truly appreciate you. If you don't know who I am, my name is Fefe. I bring you awful like this every single day. From the past 24 hours, for the next 24 hours, I give you trades. I analyze your charts. And of course, again, there's a link in the description to my X account. I'm going to write up a massive thread, but I would truly appreciate if you could follow me here. I give you massive alpha. For example, Ross, there was a big discussion yesterday on Ross, and I gave you 1.5 million impressions, brother. I'm going to give myself a clap here. Anyway, so go and follow me. I give you massive alpha there. So let me show you the charts here because this is important. So 1980s, Japan has been told that they has to increase they have to strengthen the yen. Now, for those of you who might be completely beginners who don't know about how these things work, when you talk about the dollar and USD JPY, for example, here you see it up here, the ticker, US dollar, Japanese yen, that means that how basically this shows how much of this you have to pay for this. Okay, so if it goes up, that means you have to pay more dollars, and therefore it means that the yen is weakening compared to the dollars, and the dollar is strengthening compared to the yen. So when the 80s, they've been told that they have to strengthen the yen because it's bad for the United States that it's weakening, this is what happened. The following 25 years, the yen has fallen 70%. The yen has strengthened and the dollar has fallen 70% compared to the yen. Okay, now I'm going to put the S&P chart here as well. But what you see from here, 2009, what happens? Obama comes in office and this starts reversing. Guess what happens here? Trump presidency. And guess what happens here? Joe Biden's presidency. So here's what I want to show you. The last time they've been told that they have to start strengthening the yen was up here. This is the time when obviously President Obama came in. I don't even want to go into politics because that's not relevant now. But this is the time it came in, was reducing for a little bit, and then it had a massive uptick. What happened next is Trump again coming into office and bashing Japan for making the yen weak. Guess what happened here? Look what happened on the Trump's presidency. This is Trump's presidency. This. The yen has strengthened. It didn't fly, but it definitely became stronger, and it was definitely better for the United States. Now, if I put the S&P 500 on here, you will see that the S&P 500 has been increasing. Now, this was COVID, so obviously this is not nice. But it has been increasing massively regardless. So what is really relevant with the whole thing and why am I saying all this? Now, number one, if you look here, this is the statement on monetary policy from December 19th, Bank of Japan meeting. This is basically the FOMC in Japan, right? So very similar thing. Now, 8-1 majority vote, meaning 8-1 voted to set the following guideline for monetary operations for the interim period. The bank will encourage the uncollateralized overnight call rate to remain at around 0.25%. So they didn't change. Majority decided not to change. Yet they knew that inflation is ticking up. So if you look here last year, November is the last data. They already knew when they made this call, they already knew that inflation was ticking up from 2.3 to 2.9. They already knew, yet they didn't change. Why? So if you go lower here in the document, you will see this. In order to decide whether to raise the policy interest rate, the Bank of Japan, should on the domestic front focus on blah, 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 blah. And on the external front, it should focus on developments in the United States economy. Development in the United States economy. This is December. And the policy conduct as well as developments in financial and capital markets reflecting these factors. It is therefore appropriate for the bank to examine developments in the run-up. It is therefore appropriate for the bank to examine developments in the run-up to next year's annual spring labor management wage negotiations and the situation surrounding the new US administration. So again, let's say that I told you got to connect the dots. So you start connecting the dots that they knew the inflation was ticking up, yet they didn't raise because they were arguing that they need to see the new administration. You know that Trump has been calling for the yen to be strengthened, and you know that the Bank of Japan did not raise because they knew the inflation numbers. Furthermore, in the document, they say underlying inflation has been increasingly steady, while the risk of the bank falling behind the curve is limited. Therefore, they are not in a rush. They weren't in a rush either. The bank will likely decide to raise the policy interest rate in the near future, but at this point, it is necessary for the bank to be patient and monitor the uncertainties over the US economy until those uncertainties subside. Now, what do this whole thing means to us? This means the following. One, Trump wants a stronger yen. The only way the yen can be strengthened is through interest rate hikes. People worrying about the fact that the yen carry trade will be unwind and everything go to hell, most probably just FUD because this trade has been going on for 20 years. Last year, March, we had the first indication that this trade is coming to an end. Last year, July, we had a very strong indication that this trade has to stop. And from then, 6 months has passed. And now everybody, the whole market is expecting a 0.5% rate, so 25 basis point increase. Now, if you put all this together, why is this good for America? It's good for the States because why? It's going to be better, again, to export stuff from America. This is all Trump wants. Trump wants to make sure to export at a good rate, and he wants to strengthen the American economy. The best way to do that is to export. If they can manage the ratio between the exchange rate between the US dollar and the yen, therefore it will be much better for the States and much cheaper for the Japanese to purchase from the States, and obviously much easier and cost effective for the Americans to export into Japan. What does this leave us with when it comes to crypto? It leaves us with more risk appetite. So on the short term, if you don't calculate it, if you're not concerned about the actual effect of the yen carry trade when it comes to money in the market, because the problem is money in the market and over leveraging. But since you see that the leverage is out, let me just show you here. Since you see, because I showed you that the leverage is basically out, there's not much to actually be afraid of. Because when you have a strengthened America, that means that there's much more investment power. And if you consider this, and if you just add this whole thing up and package it in a way that you understand what is happening with the yen carry trade, you understand why you should not worry about it, even though there will be a hike, and you understand that the crypto landscape in America is shaping up nicely, there's literally no reason to believe that this is going to be bearish for us. So although I was worried at first, as I started looking into the whole situation, I do not think we are going to get a massive, massive dump tomorrow. What am I expecting? And I'm going to look at the charts in a second. Here's what I'm expecting. First off, this chart will start coming down, no doubt. So this chart from 155, this is the USD JPY chart, so the US dollar and the Japanese yen. This will start coming down steeply. Okay, so everybody's expecting this. This chart will have to come down sub 100, whatever that might be. Obviously, will take a lot of time for it to get there. Maybe a lot of time. I mean, maybe 10 years or whatever that is. But I do believe that Trump will initiate this, and I do believe that this will start decreasing. That will be great for the American economy. What I do expect on crypto, let me just go back here onto Bitcoin. What I do expect on crypto is either this scenario, which is again a little bit of volatility here at the beginning, and then again, considering all the other macro factors and all the other TA factors, I do believe that we have to pump. But in general, it's either a consolidation or a slight uptick in crypto and in Bitcoin. Furthermore, if we do get, and this is an important part as well, that Trump is speaking at Davos today, and he's been always outgoing about his approach. He never was very polite and da-da-da. He's very straightforward. And there's discussions, serious discussions regarding Bitcoin reserves at Davos. And now when that happens, there is a probability that Trump is going to say something about the Bitcoin reserve. There is a probability of Trump saying something about the yen carry trade. And therefore, I do believe, again, everything aligns for this to be either a consolidation period or a pump. Now, if I look at the chart, let me just show you here. If I look at the let's say the 12-hour chart, what do I mean by consolidation? What I mean is that we can come lower. We can come down to the 97. We can dip a little bit down to sub 100. Everybody will call it. Actually, it would be even much better. A lot of people will call for sub one when we break one. Just mark my words. When I break below, when Bitcoin breaks below sub 100, I can tell you that a lot of people will say, "Oh my God, we're gonna go on a sub 88 and whatever." I'm even in a group today that are smart KOLs and influencers and whatever, and they are calling for $50,000 Bitcoin and $60,000 Bitcoin. Like, it's not gonna happen, brother. It's not gonna happen. We have literally the perfect storm cooking. Great regulation in the States. Trump who wants to strengthen America, yen carry trade almost inviting completely as it's gone. Everything aligns for a great run up. So here's what I'm thinking. And let's look at the total market cap because I do believe that this is, guys. Also, let me know if this made sense. If this was great. Cause is like, yes. Damn, bro, love the dedication. Thank you so much. Thanks for this offer. You're welcome. Like for the best offer. Thank you so much. But the price is dumping already. It's 1%. Come on. Nice research and not dumping, consolidating. Yes, amazing summary. Thank you. Yes, as an econ student, 100% agree. Great. Aiden, thank you so much. Fefe is the best. Dan, I appreciate it. This was great. Thank you. So no 50% CMA gap correction? No. 77% no. Makes sense, Mr. 50%. Thanks. Like deserves always. Thank you, bro. Explained it better than my teacher. Put me in the room, bro. Put me in the room. XRP prediction 0. No, just joking. Base DI, it's a buy hold. What happened to Jupiter? Let's see what's happening there. I didn't even look at it. Let's go. So, I'm happy that I could get this out. I was a little bit like all across the board, but do the summary first. Do the summary. What summary? Yeah, I'm just gonna do this. I'm just gonna do that to total. So, cause it's like all about the clips now. Anyway, so here's what I'm thinking. Yesterday we've been drafting here something. Also, guys, I see a lot of people tuning in here. I want to tell you. First of all, I'm doing this every single day here. I'm here every single freaking day, except on the weekend when. So I'm saying, Fefe, please marry my sister. Send me a picture. Send me a picture. Send me a picture. No, so I've been doing this. What am I even talking about now? What am I even saying here? What I've been doing now? What the fuck is happening here? Oh my God. Why is God? Cause you're fired. Actually, he got a deduction. Just so you know. You know what? He pulled up. I was like, you have to set the studio. I'm prepping, and he's like, the lamp is like this, bro. I'm like, what is happening with them? Yeah, well, you weren't ready to get. Like, why do you need me to do? Like, so he got fired today. Don't you worry about it. Share here so we can see his future wife too. Okay, cool. Let's go, guys. So what I wanted to say is that my name is Fefe, and I'm sober. All right, so my name is Fefe, and I bring you the best alpha from the past 24 hours for the next 24 hours. Everything you need to know about crypto and to protect your crypto bags and make money. And I give you trades and charts and news and all that. Where's that accent from? It's from my mouth, brother. All right, let's go. Here's a link to my X. You can follow me down here if you want. I would truly appreciate it. There's a link in the description. Is there a link in the description? There should be. Let me see. Scroll down here. Bam. Boom. It's here. Follow Fefe for Daily Alpha. Also, if you like this face and if you like this style and if you like this commentary and you want to hear this not only in crypto but in general everything, we have a vlog. It's called the $1 Billion Hustle. We're launching live shows on here as well. Just talking trash, and also documenting the journey to $1 billion net worth. So if you like this, make sure to check it out. There's a link in the description to the vlog as well down here. Okay, let's jump in here. So what are we? Oh, we're 30 minutes in. So here's what I'm thinking on the total, okay? Because it's important. It's important. So again, 2.95 is still in the cards. Don't think it's happening. I do not think it's happening because of everything that's been going on and all the macro and Trump and National Reserve and all that stuff. I don't think it's happening, but it's still in the card. That would be a 20-30% dump. That would be very, very vicious and not nice. So what I'm thinking is the following. First of all, we do have a decision point up here at 3.36, but I also understand the fact that we need to come down to the 50% retrace. Now, I know a lot of you might not know this, but I always talk about the 50% retrace. Markets do retrace 50%. And when that happens, that would be down here at the 3.35 trillion mark. So I do believe we can see this playing out today and tomorrow based on the hike news or whatever that might be. I do believe that we can see this happen all the way to the 3.3 trillion, which could again be a dip under 100,000 on Bitcoin. But that's basically it. If we don't get a close below the 3.35 trillion, which you see here, if we don't get a close below here on the 4-hour chart, I'm not even gonna flinch. I'm not gonna open my portfolio because I don't want to see it dip into red. But I'm 3x leverage can be liquidated. If you follow this pattern, you can't really lose on this, in my honest opinion. Dippy, and it built up a massive liquidity as well, which is very nice on the 15-minute. You see how nicely it comes down. So it pumps like crazy like this, and then it just comes down very slowly, which is a very great indication that we're seeing a reversal at this stage. So as a summary, what I do believe is going to happen, we can see a dip, especially from Trump's speech at Davos today and from the whole Bank of Japan decision tomorrow. We can see a little bit of dippy down here to the 3.3 trillion mark. I do think we're going to get a massive recovery from there, and then we're going to see all-time highs taken. And I very much hope that this aligns with a Bitcoin strategic national reserve announcement from Trump. So I do think this is going to be the blueprint. If we start losing this level, which is the 3.36 trillion level here on the 4-hour, meaning we see a close below, a candle close below on the 4-hour, I am going to close some of my positions and I'm going to get a little bit worried. I'm obviously going to update you on my X. This is why it's worth following me there and turning on notifications. This is my game plan for the market. Let me look at Bitcoin and analyze that as well, so we know where we are. And then we can look at Jupiter. Let me see where I'm on. Where am I on Jupiter? I hope it's like not a very bad position. So let me just see where it is. Bruv. Ish. Okay, it's 8% down. We're gonna look at that in a second. You look here. Bitcoin, same scenario. Do you think that this should hold? This should hold. That means although we have a break below here, which can again result in a lower. The only reason why I don't think that is going to happen is because this is a very strong reversal. This is a very strong 4-hour level. So if we close below here on a 4-hour, I'm going to start worrying because we can see a little bit lower. But technically going down to sub 100 with a wick, I don't think is going to be a problem. So I don't think that is going to be a problem. Let's look at Jupiter because I posted that I'm getting into Jupiter. Let me see what's happening here. I said that layering into Jupiter here, and most of the airdrops have been claimed. So there's like 80% of the wallets have claimed the airdrop already. Massive daily demand zone. If we don't hold, most likely we'll fall to the next demand zone. We'll add on the way down. That's exactly what I'm doing with limit orders. So I have them in there. Yeah. So still, it didn't even lose the level. It didn't even lose the level. So this is what I'm looking at. Jupiter, fantastic. So there was a massive Jupiter airdrop. If you don't know about it, let me just look here. So if you don't know about it, there was a massive Jupiter airdrop, and that Jupiter airdrop was the reason most likely this pumped and then dumped as well, because a lot of people have sold. Now, if you consider the fact that Jupiter is down 40% from like 3 days ago or 4 days ago, I do think it's like a massive sell-off. And enough, they probably are prepared with market makers. If you do believe, I mean, if you look at this, you see that how well this level held throughout months and months since July last year, held very nicely. And Jupiter is very explosive when it comes to recoveries. Look at this here, for example. 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 Look at this here. Look at this here. So do you believe that this is a fantastic long? I am in the long position, 3 to 5x leverage. I do think I'm at, what is it, my leverage? Okay, I'm 10x, but don't follow me because I don't have liquidation price. So like, don't follow what I'm doing because I know what I'm doing. So like, just do not have liquidation price. Someone is saying Jup should hold this level. Yes. So I do believe this will hold. But again, as I drafted here, if it doesn't hold, no problem, because then we have the next level. I do think a reversal is coming, and Jupiter as a major player in the Solana ecosystem, I do believe will do very, very, very good. Now let's look at other tokens as well. Let me look at other tokens as well. Let me just see the chat. What is really happening here? Yes, sir. XRP, what charts you guys trading? I want to help you. I don't want to just come here and just like, I want you to actually tell me what you guys are trading and what is really happening. AI16Z, let's see, because I'm doing AI16Z as well. AI16Z. Yeah, look, perfect. Like, if you're not buying AI16Z here, I don't know what you're doing. Like, genuinely. Obviously not financial advice, nothing I say. But like, if you're not buying it here, I don't know where you're buying it. So I do believe this, again, there's a market structure shift here. Very, very strong reversal. This is like very, very, very strong. Let me just, so this is what I drafted here. Let me just remove this here. You have a market structure break below here, which is like a proper close on the 4-hour chart below here. This is a break, market structure break. And then you have a close above here, even above here, I think. Even above here, look at this. Is that a close above? That is a close above. It's such a strong indication, guys. This is very, very good. You got a market structure shift here, and then you come back 50%, and you wait for a market structure shift. Now, if you want to be a very calculated scalper or whatever, what you might want to wait for is you might want to wait for a sell-off like this or something like this, and then you're waiting for a reversal, a higher high. Now, you would be looking at these levels for that. Exactly from here. So you would be looking at the reversal from any of these levels, to be fair with you. So it can still dump like another 10% before reversal. But once you see a higher high form, there's the opportunity. I don't have a lot of time now, and I don't think you should be scalping in the bull market. So the reason why I'm actually just layering in the position, because I do believe in the long run, this will just simply pay off. I'm also in AIXBT. So again, like, that's something that I think is again, fantastic place to place a buy here. Look at this, beautiful. This came back 50%. If you look at this came back 50% from the bottom here. So you look here, this was the bottom, it came back 50, accumulated. This is exactly what I'm talking about. It had a higher high, it came back 50, and then it had a massive push, and now it's just literally coming back to that region. If you go down onto the, or if you go up to the 1-hour chart, you see a massive market structure shift here. Market structure shift here or here, whatever you decide to pick. I don't, it's all on you, but you see a market structure shift here, and then it comes back to a beautiful daily OB down here, which is fantastic. So I would like to see a reversal for literally almost from here. So like a reversal comes, if you see a higher high forming, that I'm gonna double down on that to my positions. Beautiful entry, currently at 0.7273. If you see that happen, then it's a great add. Let me see what else is happening here. Oh, guys, also, I wanted to tell you about something. So I made a partnership with VX. VX is a non-KYC exchange that you can use worldwide. I'm going to do a spaces with them as well. But what I wanted to tell you about VX is that I negotiated a deal for you where you trade 0% for limit orders. So that you don't have any maker fees. That means that you can literally just come here and you put limit orders in, and if those limit orders hit, you do not pay fees. Now, if you're trading a larger account like I do, this can save you thousands and thousands of dollars a month in fees. Again, depending, if you trade a smaller amount, it can save you $10, $20, $30 a month. But still, if you want to trade non-KYC, so you can just go and trade 2 minutes registration, and you don't want to pay fees for limit orders, you can do it on VX. Go and check them out. There's a link in the description. I definitely invite you to check them out. It's pretty cool. You also have like massive rewards when you sign up. You literally just have to deposit. You get $10. If you take $5,000 worth of trades, you get, I don't even know, it's $50, something like that. I don't know. But there's deposit bonus. But this is a very good opportunity that you should utilize, in my honest opinion. Kaspa, let's go Kaspa. Honestly, I cut my Caspa position. I know you're not going to like me for this, but I did. Why? Because of this. I'm not happy. So if you look, so very good example about Jupiter, right? I look at Jup. You see the difference here. So Jupiter, I can't. Oh, I can't do, okay. So, okay, I can't do this. Yeah, this is the weekly chart. Hold on a second. Yeah, so look at this. So you do have a higher high form than Jupiter here. Look at this. So you see a clear higher high form than a V-shaped recovery. You don't see that on Caspa. Like, you don't really. You could argue that this is kind of like a recovery, but it's rather a retrace to the higher time frame OB. There is liquidity here, massive liquidity. I don't know if people understand the whole value proposition behind Caspa when you can buy a fucking dog. I don't think people care about the 𝗙𝗘𝗙𝗙𝗙 and like how it's gonna like change the world. And maybe at some point this could be a great trade, but I don't think this is the narrative I'm layering into AIs. I don't think this is something that is exciting. I cut this in a loss. So I actually closed this trade out in a loss, but I don't mind because there's no liquidity to the upside. There's massive liquidity to the downside. It's not in the narrative. I'm just not a fan. I'm just not a fan of Caspa. That's the honest truth. All right. I think this is what we're going to do. What I'm going to do now, I'm traveling today, so I don't have a bunch of time, but I'm going to drop some massive alpha for you on the weekend as well. I'm coming to you most likely tomorrow from the hotel, so I'm going to do a show tomorrow as well. Keep layering into good plays. This is what I can tell you. Again, do not worry about the rate hike tomorrow. Don't let people tell you that there will be a 20% dump. Again, is it a possibility? Yes. Should you be prepared for it? Yes. Should you be always prepared for it? Yes. But that does not mean that it should paralyze you. And I do believe that you will see that tomorrow, and we will find greater confirmation tomorrow. Guys, I truly appreciate you being here. I would invite you yet again to please make sure to follow me on X. There is a link in the description that you can see, and you can follow me there. I post you every single second I do something, and every single time there's something relevant in the market, I write you threads, I simplify crypto. Do that, and of course subscribe to the channel and come back every single day. I see we have more and more people coming, which is absolutely incredible, and I truly appreciate you. If you are rewatching these, there are 2 videos here that you can check out. Make sure to click on them and check them. There's a subscribe button right here that you can use. And other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching. Truly appreciate you, and I believe I will see you in the next one. Take care.